Jerome Powell speaking live here in a matter of moments. The Bitcoin price hovering at a level that looks like it may want to take a swing to the downside. Is the bull market over? I don't think it is. We have a lot to discuss today. I'm just getting this retweeted out. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Get this retweeted, and we're going to be diving in here in just a moment as I get this posted on all the different spots. We're live on Rumble. We are live on YouTube, and we are live, of course, on X. Big love to each and every one of you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you had a wonderful week last week. I was a little bit short on content because I was getting all the content I could, meeting with people, doing a lot of different interviews, and we are back at it live today. So everybody, I hope you are strapped in because this market is setting up for something absolutely fantastic. So let's get into it. What's up, everybody? We're diving right on into today. Jerome Powell speaking. We'll dive into more discourse here in just a second. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Members are here to celebrate today, as well as a significant number of IF alumni, including past division directors Ted Truman, Karen Johnson, Nathan Sheets, and Steve Kamen. The division has also produced many other notable alums, including, not least, Chair and Secretary Janet Yellen, Professor, author, chess grandmaster, and our keynote speaker, Ken Rogoff, and humanitarian and economist Albert Hirschman, famous for the Herfindahl-Hirschman Index, and more recently, perhaps a little less famous, as a character in Netflix series Transatlantic, to name just a few. We keep close track of these things. In my time at the Fed, the IF division has provided invaluable insight into global economic activity, international trade and capital flows, and developments in foreign financial markets. Division staff have also played a key role during episodes of global financial stress. And your research and analysis are critical inputs into our monetary policy decisions. Thank you to all that have served in this division over the past 75 years. Today, I'll kick off this conference by briefly reviewing why the division was created in the first place and highlighting a few of its many accomplishments over the years before turning you over to a robust set of presentations and panels. So, the IF division was created on July 1, 1950, but the idea began to germinate a few years earlier. The U.S. had emerged from...
We're essentially looking to see if he's going to say anything about this huge rumor regarding whether or not Jerome Powell is going to step down or resign. I do not think it's going to happen, but I do think some of the things that he may say may have some impact on what's happening in the price action on Bitcoin. So as you can see, I have Bitcoin's price up there. We will track it, and I'm going to flip back and forth. We have a lot of charts to go over today, so stay tuned. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and SUI, and a lot of incredible data that shows that we are nowhere near the top. What level should we watch if we do get a dip? So stay tuned. We're going to bring this back up. We're going to see what he's got to talk about, and we're going to get back into the other charts in a moment.
Undoubtedly continue to give rise to issues of the first magnitude. That rare economic forecast that has turned out to be spot on. 75 years later, it remains critical that the Fed understand the policies and practices of other governments and central banks and their implications for the U.S. economy and for financial markets. Exchange rate policy, of course, is now firmly in the hands of the U.S. Treasury. However, the end of the Bretton Woods era in the 1970s fundamentally changed the conduct of monetary policy, as policymakers had to understand the effects of potentially more volatile movements of the U.S. dollar on American families and businesses. Understanding global trade and capital movements has only grown in importance since 1950, as we saw during the pandemic. IF helps produce the data on international capital flows and has spent decades researching the effects of these flows and international trade on U.S. and foreign economies. Understanding this complex and interconnected web is essential for us to anticipate the path of employment and inflation. Another important development in the 1970s was the increasing use of macroeconomic modeling, which greatly influenced the division's work. Under the direction of former division director Ralph Bryant, IF developed its first multi-country model. Always on the forefront
Join BlockDAG 2025. Participate and see your
Come
contribution
on.
grow to new heights.
That day. These models have proven useful for understanding how international shocks transmit through the economy and financial markets, for assessing risks and uncertainties through alternative scenarios, and for better comprehending the implications of various shocks for the US and the global economy. The results have informed research papers, board memos and briefings, as well as the risks and uncertainty assessment that FOMC committee participants receive in advance of every meeting. The IF division has also played an important role in responding to global economic turbulence. A prime example is the Latin American debt crisis of the 1980s. That episode required analytical thinking about the macroeconomic repercussions of the crisis as it played out around the world. Work by the division and by the IMF and other institutions led to the establishment of emergency facilities to prevent more dire financial outcomes. As global capital flows increased, other episodes of financial distress surfaced across the world, including in Mexico, Asia, and Russia. International capital flows and spillovers became and remain a recurrent feature in the division's analytical and monitoring work. The expertise generated through study and response to these global challenges proved invaluable when stress hit closer to home during the global financial crisis and then the pandemic. Both of those events required immediate, broad, and in many cases unprecedented responses to avoid disrupting the availability of credit to American households and businesses. The nation and the world looked to the Fed to lead in these moments. During the global financial crisis, when global funding markets came under stress, IF worked to establish swap line arrangements with several major central banks that helped restore stability in US dollar funding markets. And of course, during the pandemic, IF division helped lead efforts to expand the provision of dollar liquidity by setting up the FEMA repo facility. These periods of acute financial stress and uncertainty prompted the division to develop new tools and analytical.
Got a bit of a diamond pattern here on this breakdown, almost like a bear flag. These are potential reversal patterns. They don't really give you clear signal. They could break back up or back down, target down to 102 or target up to 106. Let's see what he's got to say.
Including new indexes that were built to track geopolitical risk, inflation, trade policy, and economic uncertainty. As we continue to navigate the current period of heightened uncertainty, this work is critical to understanding the quantitative implications of uncertainty shocks, certainly relevant today. So I'll conclude by saying that for 75 years, 9 Fed chairs and countless board members have greatly benefited from the guidance and counsel of IF staff, and not just when responding to crisis. This team helps to assure that we're well prepared for our international engagements by providing us detailed, some might say extremely detailed materials ahead of time, and often by traveling with us. IF staff are always welcome and productive companions in these and other endeavors. We benefit from the robust relationships that you establish and maintain with our global counterparts. So thank you to Beth Ann and to all the staff here that organized this wonderful event. And finally, thank you again to all the current and former IF staff for what you have done and continue to do to help us be a globally knowledgeable and responsive central bank so that we can deliver on our dual mandate for all Americans. Thank you very much.
That's it. Come on. All right. Well, that was a bit of a nothing burger, kind of what I expected. But let's see how the price action on these charts, sort of responds to what's going on. We've got about 2,000 people tuned in right now on Twitter. We've got another several hundred over on YouTube, and I know several hundred more on Rumble. Shout out to each and every one of you. Let's go ahead and minimize that share screen. We got a bunch of key charts we're going to be diving into right now. But first off, welcome back to the show. Welcome back. I'm back from Vegas. We are hitting the ground running this week. I dropped a bunch of alpha in the BitLab, joined the Discord with Blockchain Basement, Discover Crypto, BitLab Academy. It's called the Discover Investments Group. That link is pinned in the top of the live comments there. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching over, let me actually post this. I will share this. Hold on one second. I will post this in the under the the post here on Twitter. Join the DIG Discord. There's a link. If you are a BitLab, if you're a paying BitLab member, all you need to do is drop an email over to the office at hitnetwork.com, and we will check your Discord and paid status on BitLab. We'll get you plugged in there. That deal is going to be going away soon. But everybody that's already paying on BitLab, you don't have to do anything. All you need to do other than email office at hitnetwork.com. And you just need to do that and make sure that you're signed up for LBank to get all that, to get full access in there. And that link is down there in the comments of, it's in the comments of that video right here. If you expand this, you'll see it's right there. Join us right there. But let's go ahead and look at some of the things we have to look at because the market's been moving around. We're seeing this is the month. We're seeing we had everything green. Now we got some stuff green. We got some stuff red. If we look at the week, we got a lot of red here. White, never even heard of white, but up 184%. Everything else is having a bit of a pullback. I don't know why that just zoomed in. If we look at this on the daily, we got a sort of mixed bag here as well. Sky and Maker. Sky is the new Maker DAO. It's what they rebranded to, kind of at the same levels to the upside. Everything else looking like it's in a little bit of a pullback. We're seeing some sporadic, very small, gains on only a few coins. But if we come over here and look on the hourly, we're seeing some mixed bag as well. So what does this look like? What are we looking at in the chart? Because we're starting June. They said sell in May and walk away. I told you it's not a sell in May and walk away. I say stack into May. Profits are going to come your way. I still very much believe that. Shout out to, who's that? Byron Hartles with 10 gifted BitLab memberships. Quadruple double special shout out to you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. And welcome to all the new members. Some of you coming back. I see Shake and Bake, Tex-Mex, Biomex, Chase, Crypto Glassworks, Splash Landing, Rabin 1984. That's my birth year. Shout out to you. Jack, long name there. Chris and Theo Rodriguez. Shout out to everybody that is in that mix. Crypto Tony as well. But we got some key levels that we have to look at. We have to look at some important data. How do we know what Bitcoin price is going to do? We cannot know exactly what it's going to do in the immediate term in the next 15 minutes, hour, 4-hour, day, or week. But what we can do is we can stack the data to our benefit so that we can have the most educated guess as to what's going to happen next. And when I'm looking at the midterm and the macro, what I see is overwhelming data showing massive, massive stacking from institutions, massive stacking from the players that I really think are going to drive this market cycle, from now into the next many years. And what is that? Public companies bought 95,000 Bitcoin in Q1 and are raising billions to buy more. This is just the beginning. Parabolic soon. This is what we're seeing here. Massive raise. Look at this uptick in Q4 of 2024, even larger in Q1 of 2025, over 95,000. And I said this right here. The institutional bull run is only just starting. It will likely be a multi-year bull run with a few scary dips and several multi-month consolidations. Yes, altcoins will run, but not everything. I really think this is going to be a little bit different this cycle. So stack Bitcoin, stack utility, dips are for buying. This is my action plan. This is not financial advice. I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing, what I'm seeing, so I can help keep you on the right side of the trend because there's other data we've got to pay attention to as well. And again, if this is your first time here, welcome to the BitLab Academy. My name's Kellam. A shout out to our channel partners, Bitcoin IRA. I'm actually wearing a shirt. Did a great interview with Chris Klein this last week at Bitcoin Vegas. Also to LBank, our trusted exchange partner. We're doing a lot of stuff, different giveaways, different trading challenges and all that. And when you sign up for LBank, by the way, that link is in the description below. If you look at this right here, see, you can see me in double. But right here where it says more, boom. Trade with us on LBank. Click on that link right there. Join us. If it gives you any headache or anything like that, all you have to do, and anytime you're trading, anytime you're doing anything in crypto, you should have a VPN on. I always set mine somewhere like Brazil or Bolivia or Lithuania. All that does is tell whoever's trying to hack you or look at your stuff, it obfuscates where you are at and also allows you to sign up for all these things. It's not illegal for you to sign up for exchanges that have geo-locking. It's those exchanges themselves that have basically it's prevented by their regulation on them, not on you. So make sure you're using a VPN, sign up for LBank right here. And you tend to get bonuses when you sign up and you make your first deposits. And this is that link right here if you want to join us on the joint Discord with everybody in there. Joshua, Jake, DZ, myself, Drew from Blockchain Basement. Veteran crypto from DeFi, crypto airdrops, all kind of stuff in there. So make sure you get involved. That's where all the action is going to be. But when we see this, we see institutions stacking like mad. And then we look at this data right here, Bitcoin top being in, people are losing their mind thinking the top is in. Why is this? Looking at this capital flow. This is the data I want to look at. Sure. Go and trade the 15-minute chart, but don't do it unless you have an understanding of where we're at on the macro. And the macro picture, the data, the ingredients that we're looking at to get a clear picture of what's going on does not suggest that we are anywhere near a top. And this is why. See this expansion? This is what I'm talking about here where I say no capital expansion. This is money flowing in. Yes, we saw a little spike. We saw a little spike. Both times reset back to zero. And then look, larger expansion coming in with new capital. We saw this in previous cycles as well. We have not seen that yet. What we have seen is the base setup as we saw back here with these little blips up here before the launch, with the little blips up here before the launch. We've got the blips. What's next? I do believe the launch is coming, and that is this orange area right here. Whether or not this resets back to zero, if we get that dip down to 90, 92, 95, anywhere in that region, it is a gift if we get that. Realize that, and you can navigate this a lot more clearly. There's no guarantee price will go down to 95 or 92. There's a CME gap there, and there's some other data I'm going to show you here in a second. But I do believe, regardless of what happens in the next month or 2 months, I do think we're still going to get an expansion phase where we get this huge amount of liquidity pouring in addition to what we're seeing from institutions, but also more from those institutions as more institutions pour in. So this is showing that we're nowhere near a top. What is about the next signal? MVRV. We never got the expansion on the MVRV, which is this large expansion we're seeing right here where this breaks above these lines. Clearly, large expansion. Clearly, large expansion. What we see in price action, massive parabolic run to the upside. Massive parabolic run to the upside. Look at this. Broke through. Massive parabolic run to the upside. A reset and then a new high here as well. What have we seen so far? Only these sort of attempts to the upside back down. Attempt to the upside back down. We have not gotten the large expansion. We have not entered the hype phase yet. Cycles don't end without the hype phase. Even here where it felt muted, we still got a large expansion that moved very quickly away from the realized value, the realized price on chain. So this also shows us we're nowhere near top. Then we look at the previous cycles. This is the last 2 cycles overlaid with the current cycle here being in pink. What do you see? Measured from the cycle bottom, the low of the cycle to where we're at right now. The low of the last 2 cycles to where we're at right now. We saw in both of the previous cycles, we had a bit of a correction here. In this case, on the yellow line right here, this is a 2017 cycle. Price action went a little bit sideways here with only a slight move to the downside, but mostly sideways. On the orange line here, this is 2021, pretty large pullback all the way up here from 64 down into the 30s. What do we see right here on the pink line? Well, we're getting a small, this is almost a non-existent pullback so far from 112 down to 104. Come on, guys, we can handle some stress in this market. And those of us that handle the stress best will take the most profits in the end or have enough stacked into the future because they're not getting trapped by the emotions of the move. We need price to go up and we need price to have pullbacks that bulls defend new higher lows. You do not have a bull trend without that. You have a blow off top without having price pulling back and defending higher lows consecutively to build that stairway to heaven, as we call it. And then we also see the key levels that I'm watching right now. And this is not a fib. This is not the CME gap. These are key moving average we want to pay attention to in this market if we're trying to make sure we're looking at all the different data available. Now, what do we see? Look at this. Retest back into the same key levels. Retest back into the same key levels. This actually deviated below, but then launched. Retest back to the key level. Retest back to the key level, and then deviated below, and then launch. Okay, deviated below, a little baby launch. Currently, we may be waiting to have another test back to that key level. What is that key level? That is the mid 90s. In this case right here, if we look at this on the chart zoomed in, this is in the 90, basically 95 to 90, 93.4 to $96,000 level. Well, what is also in that zone? Very, very, very important level. Let's go ahead and pull this onto the screen. And that level is, if we come over here to BTC1 exclamation point, that is the CME futures. If we zoom out on this, let's go to the daily and double click here, make it, there we go. We're still looking for this level down in the $91,800 to $92,000 region, the CME futures. So one, we saw moving averages, the short-term holder cost basis, the 200-day moving average, and the 21-week moving average. And those were right here in this zone right here, this 95. We can actually draw a box there just to remind ourselves. It's right in this region right here. Now, on the one hand, we have the CME futures gap down here in the 92K region. On the other hand, we have all of these levels right in here. Well, what does this mean? It cannot breach below these? Well, look here, breached below these before it slingshot up. Okay, bounced above, breached below before it slingshot up, bounced above. In this case, this was a bear market. I do not think we're entering a bear market. In fact, I think we're far from it. However, we have to pay attention to this level. If we get a move below this, it does get a little bit emotional. It does get a little bit scary, but we have strategy in place. We have good portfolio management. We have a time horizon. We're not over allocated, but we're looking to the data to give us a roadmap on the chart for what actions to do, when and where. In this case, this shows us there's nothing out of context if price comes back to this mid 95, even a slight deviation below, clearing out that CME futures gap while we're seeing a massive amount of institutional money pouring in. They're not pouring in at the top. They're not pouring in thinking this market might dip. They're going to defend their positions. In fact, beyond that, we have governments racing to get their situation set up. And I have some more data on that here in just a moment. So let's go through it because we have some macro stuff to look at so we know what to expect in the month of June. So we looked at that. We looked at the data there. And then we also got right here, 2021 double top comparison. But Kelly, we saw a double top in 2021. Well, that time we had the Luna Ponzi, the collapse. We had the FTX selling paper Bitcoin, basically huge derivatives, overwhelming expansion there. That was just basically massive malfeasance and fraud that was going on. And what? Sam Bankman-Fried is in jail now. We also had the GBTC premium unwinding. People were buying a lot of GBTC, which is before the ETFs were launched. And they were basically getting the GBTC had a huge negative premium. And then it flipped to being a huge positive premium. So people were rotating out, causing different sort of weird pressures in the market. We're not seeing that now. And about to get hit with the fastest rate hikes ever. This is preceding where we're at now. This is 2021. What do we see now? Systemic ETF bid. That's that data that we were just looking at here. Massive, massive inflows to institutions for Bitcoin. We also see treasury companies buying billions. It's not just MicroStrategy. It's Metaplanet. It's Similar Scientific. It's GameStop. We're seeing now there's new companies. I forget the name of it, but one was just announced in Norway over the last 24 hours, a new Bitcoin treasury company. We also saw one in Sweden. I think it was Sweden or Switzerland. Was it a week or two ago? We're seeing the trend expand, and that's going to be more Bitcoin buying, more money raised to buy Bitcoin, and just growing awareness around what's going on. And we also see states building Bitcoin reserves. Who cares about states? Well, Texas has the 8th largest economy in the world. And I'm not talking about against other states. Texas's economy is larger than every country in the world other than the top 8. And one of those in that top 8 is California. So really only 6 countries in the world eclipse the size of the economy in Texas. So that you think that that's not a big deal, that Texas is now putting pen to paper to get a strategic Bitcoin reserve in action and moving forward. We also saw New Hampshire already enact one. We also saw Arizona. We have the U.S. stepping forward very soon to have their strategic Bitcoin reserve actually moving forward and having that buy action plan in place. Everybody, the landscape right now for Bitcoin and the altcoin ecosystem is nothing short of fantastic. So the fact that we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, and look at this, I don't even consider this a pullback, came right back to a known zone. If this comes back down here to 99,000, we already also know it's a known zone of this trend line that comes all the way up through here. This would be perfect. Even if it came back further to 95, to the known levels that we just highlighted, these zones right here, we've got a map for it. And then beyond that, that next level down would be, if we lose 95K, I think the price action coming down into here, if this does kind of come down, bounce here, lose down here, I think we will get a wick down into the low 90s, potentially all the way down into the 88K region. I think that will be very fast, a little accumulation, and then a move to the upside. So all of this is a sign of a normal movement in the market. This is, you watch crypto Twitter, you watch crypto YouTube, people are gonna be like, oh my God, it's over. And when I see this would be a gift from God for us to be able to buy below $100,000 if this happens. If Bitcoin comes down and breaks down to known levels we have mapped out on the chart, everybody else is losing their mind. I'm going to thank sweet Lord baby Jesus that we still have an opportunity to buy Bitcoin below $100,000 if we even get it. You cannot guarantee this will take place. Be prepared if it does, but also realize if you're still waiting to get in and you're like, well, it's high now. Well, a lot of people said the same thing when price went up here to 112, 113,000. We're getting that pullback. There's no telling how low it's going to go because there's so much buying pressure and only exponentially increasing buying pressure and action plans to buy that are just getting announced daily. Take advantage of anything you can. And right now, if you don't know what to do, sit on your hands. If you're already in, sit on your hands. If you're not in yet, I don't know what data you've been looking at, but your opportunities now. Start stacking in, get your DCA, dollar cost average plan in, whether it's every Monday, whether it's every first of the month, whatever it is, take action so your future doesn't leave you behind. The actions right now. So we got the different landscape that we're in right now. Then we see this, the large holders are accumulating. Addresses holding 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin, excluding exchanges and miners, they're rising. Large addresses with over 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin are rising, a sign of growing investor confidence, historically linked to higher prices soon. So what are you doing about it? Because the data is here. And then we see right now the chop that's confusing everybody. But why isn't it just going? Well, now it's a bad time to take paper bets on Bitcoin. This means to take margined leverage derivative trades. The market is doing everything it can to scoop in and out of different people's portfolios. We see this. If we come out here to the 2-week, we see the price action absolutely just wrecking people to the upside. And now we see long liquidations down here. So the price comes down, flushes those out. Now we get a bounce back to the upside, flush out these short liquidations, flushes these out to the upside, and it's just doing this rinse and repeat. Now look at everybody's just betting long here because it's about to run away. Well, you're also putting a target on your back along with a lot of other people because you're going leveraged, which means it's on chain and it's in exchange and everybody else can see that, hey, there's some liquidity levels that we can go scoop up some free money. Boom, scoops it up now to the downside. But look, the majority of the liquidations are now above us because there's people out here that are shorting. And it's increasing the amount of shorts they're having, which is why you're seeing all of this being brighter colors. I'll simplify it for you. The brighter the colors and the larger groupings, the more liquidity is in these regions. See how this is very bright? A lot of liquidity was here. And it came down and scooped that area up. Now, if we come down and look at the 12-hour, I want you to notice something. We have people just getting trapped in both directions with some people going leverage long, some people going leverage short, and it's scooping that up, scoops this up, comes up, doesn't quite get up. Now it's trapped in the zone here. And we can see this also on Willy Woo's chart here. It's open season on liquidation hunts due to high levels of betting. Bitcoin is waiting to purge the bets before the next swing of all-time highs. Chart, paper bets on Bitcoin. Hard to move up with too many casino hitchhikers on board. But what did you see right here? A lot of casino hitchhikers. Look at this. And what happened? Boom, it comes down, flushes them out, and then you get to move to the upside. So we're starting to see a similar scenario here where the paper casino hands trying to just say, I'm going to get rich with this 30x on my entire portfolio. I did that shit 2 cycles ago. Don't do that. I lost 11 Bitcoin in one trade because I thought, oh, I know better. Why? Because I'm spot trading like a magician. I'm killing it on my spot trades. So I took a leverage bet on nearly my entire portfolio, and the market went exactly where I thought it was going to go. So why did I get liquidated? Because, and this is what happens to most people, you might see something on the chart. You might see something. Well, if this price action comes down to this level right here and bounces, and boom, I'm gonna leverage trade this right here, and then I'm gonna be rich. The price does that exactly. However, depending on the exchange you're on as well, within this, you also see, if you were to zoom in on this, let's get down to the 4-hour. If you were to zoom in on this, what likely will also happen is not only does it bounce just like you expected, because you learned TA and you can read this beautifully. The price action does exactly what you laid out, but then it also has one little wick that boom taps your liquidation zone and then moves to the upside. Do not leverage trade a substantial portion of your portfolio. You are asking to be wrecked if you do that. If you want to leverage trade, go through the BitLab Academy courses, get in our Discover Investments group Discord. The link is there in the description down below. It's also pinned in the top of the live comments. Send me an email. You can send us an email also, office@hitnetwork.com, because we try to break this down so you have the tools, you have the ingredients, and you have the community, because sometimes we all need handholding so we can make smart decisions, because we are in for the most life-changing opportunity of our lives. Do not throw it away gambling with what you've already stacked. Take calculated bets. And if you want to take derivatives and leverage trades, do it, but do it smart. That's what I try to help prepare you for all here, is making smart moves in this market, because we're nowhere near the top. Let's not make this up. So many comparisons to past tops. Problem is, things couldn't be more different. Look at this down here. Look at this. I think this is the global business cycle. We see what this is going on here. This is where we're at here. Look at this red dot. Similarly to what we saw back here in 2020, look at where this red dot is. Does this look like it's anywhere near the top in this cycle? No. Does it look like it's anywhere near the top in this cycle back here in 2016? No. Similarly, we're seeing something that rhymes with these previous cycles, but I think people are overestimating, being a little PTSD bearish, looking at this and zooming out going, okay, but this is a double top. Boom, 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 much like they saw back here in this top right here. They're saying this is what it looks like. But the other data doesn't align with this price action. This price action looks somewhat similar, but the data we're looking at with the global, the business cycle, with what we're seeing with the global M2 absolutely skyrocketing, that is the magnet to the upside. Are there things to consider right now in terms of hedging yourself? Absolutely. Do not over leverage yourself. But if you're in spot trades right now and the price drops, and what do? You have an opportunity to then add to your positions at lower prices. We should be thankful for that, not being frustrated by it. Okay, what else we got? We got the Bitcoin archive here saying also Elon Musk announces XChat with Bitcoin style encryption. Even for people that aren't in Bitcoin yet, even if this doesn't matter if they're about to buy, it's these types of things that only strengthen the voice and where the standing is in the mind share of the world of 8 billion people. Every one of these things, whether it's buying, whether it's talking points, whether it's the integrations, it's only better marketing for Bitcoin and what we're seeing moving forward. And then we go beyond that and we see this right here. I don't know why all my screens are loading and unloading, but China says the U.S. is the biggest threat to regional peace and stability. Oh, I'm scared. But then we also got Trump and Xi, President Xi from China, expected to speak this week, very soon, not today. Expect more volatility. There is some questions about what this is going to regard in terms of the tariffs, in terms of the impact on what it's going to do to markets. So while Bitcoin is saying it's looking absolutely beautiful for what we're seeing, let's actually look at this chart right here. Beautiful stair stepping to the upside. We are currently at a kind of triple top zone right here. Again, this would not surprise me if we had a little bit of a pullback into the mid 90s, down to the low 90, 92, 93, even a washout a little bit lower. All of this is still very productive in terms of bullish trend. I would not be shocked to get a bit of a pullback here. I'm still overwhelmingly bullish. I also would not be equally shocked if this just bounced and just launched up. All these things can turn the markets on a dime. And the fact that we also see this, U.S. Defense Secretary Hexas says China is credibly preparing to use force to alter balance of power in the region. I don't know what to believe in any of the news media these days. We're seeing jockeying in both directions. It feels like a giant psyop where they tell you to look this way and then they do something over here. So I don't know what's going on. They may also be trying to keep the markets at bay. Why would they do that? Because we've got about $7 to $9 trillion in outstanding loan debt that needs to be refinanced this year. And with the current standing of what's happening with the Fed and with the interest rates, makes it very difficult for them to be able to do that. And the impact would make the debt basically unserviceable, meaning it's going to make it progressively more and more hard to service and pay the debt and the interest on that debt. So while everything's feeling like it's setting up for overwhelming bullishness in these markets, we also have a geopolitical, a geoeconomic landscape that is also getting very nuanced in what mechanisms, tools, and methods that they're using to get the markets under control and get the debt that the world runs on under control. So while I'm overwhelmingly bullish on where the markets are going, I am still very focused on being patient right now over the next maybe even several months before we get absolute explosion. But I do think we're going to get something this year. So while these headlines do raise some concerns, I do still look to the charts on these markets, especially crypto, and see overwhelming bullishness come in. But then we also got this right here. Russia's largest bank, Sberbank, launches a structured bond tied to Bitcoin and the US dollar and the ruble exchange rate. The bonds let holders earn based on two variables: the future performance of Bitcoin in US dollars and any strengthening of the US dollar relative to the ruble. So now we got Bitcoin, the strength of the US dollar. We have things going on with Russia, all at a time where it feels like NATO's getting weaponized to sort of undercut some of the peace plans that Trump was trying to do. But we have to, I don't believe a thing that's happening on the news now. I think it's all just jockeying to get the markets still uncertain, AKA opportunity for those that are paying attention. But these markets always resolve to the upside. The question is, how big of a dip will it be? And is the dip going to be different in terms of the correlation on, for instance, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, and how is Bitcoin going to endure that? With Bitcoin having the overwhelming nod, the MVP award moving forward for the world waking up to it, from sovereign bodies, sovereign governments, to states here in the US, to institutions, to major money players in global markets, to individuals. It's the star of the show. Will we get a dip? Sure, we will. But I think that the level of dips we're going to get from here on out, barring some world catastrophe that would bring all markets down, I think Bitcoin is going to really outshine everything. So while we're seeing some questions about China and some questions about Ukraine and Russia and what's going on, I think we just need to keep our focus on what's happening with Bitcoin, because this is what we're seeing. The global M2, the correlation is impeccable, says Crypto Seth. And what is this? This is the blue line, is the global money, new money in the system. Stimulus. It's not just the U.S., whether we print. It's also China. It's also it's also Brazil. It's also Canada, the European Central Bank. What we're seeing in Australia, what we're seeing in Japan. The world's printing. Bitcoin is following this to a T. I even discussed this a week and a half ago on this move to the upside. I said, well, man, you see a little bit of that dip on the global money supply. Are we going to also have a little bit of dip on Bitcoin? What are we seeing? We're getting that little bit of dip on Bitcoin right now. We're seeing the same thing play out in some of the alts that you're holding as well. I'm seeing opportunity. I don't know about you, but I still think that this, barring some major reduction in global liquidity, which I don't see happening, I think we're still in for some very strong upside here in markets. And then we see right here, money print has no cap. The amount of US dollars, the amount of yuan, the amount of yen, it has no cap. They never endingly print. Once you understand this, you will never take your focus off Bitcoin as your single most important plan for the future. Stack. This is what it looks like. I want to make sure this is muted. This is what it looks like. This is you see the price of the value of Bitcoin here as this just moves along. Boom, look at that. Just large expansions back to mean reversion. Large expansions back to mean reversion. And look at this, large expansion back to mean reversion. We have not, look at that. You see that? We did not get any large expansion there, much like we saw on the MVRV, the capital flow. And this is what it looks like. I still think we've got so much room to go to the upside and people are worried. And then what else we got here? We got a couple more and then we're going to look in. This is one of the things that was leading to this rumor that Jerome Powell was going to resign because he basically got some more clearances from the Supreme Court about what some of the actions that the executive branch could take in terms of hiring or firing certain people in different independent federal agencies. So everybody was expecting, oh, maybe he's going to resign. Again, I don't think it would be good for markets if he did resign. Some people think, but it would bring a lack of confidence in markets if that were to happen, even if we got a quick little boom initially. And then what else we got here? Coin Bureau. Ethereum's Pectra upgrade is under attack. EIP 7702 meant to simplify wallet use, and the Pectra upgrade is being hijacked by bots. Wintermute, which is a massive market maker, found 80+% of delegations are feeding one malicious script. One victim already lost 150K to a phishing attack. So I bring this up just to remind you, anytime you have an upgrade on any chain, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's Cardano, whether it's any chain out there, you always stand to have new attack vectors, new opportunistic players out there that could try to take advantage. I think Ethereum is going to be the most hated rally of this cycle. But this does suggest, if we come over here and look at Ethereum, let's look at what the price is doing. So price is still right exactly in the box that we outlined months ago. We outlined this when price was down here. Boom, this came right up inside of it. This is the 3-day chart. This looks like a giant bull flag to me, but we're going to have to play it out. Let's see how it looks. When we're looking, this also looks like, this looks a bit like a distribution top now, looking at it like this. Move up, chop, 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 chop. If we got to move down, what would it look like? I would look like right here to this level. I did not add anything to this. In fact, this is the first time I pulled up the Ethereum chart in probably almost a week. This line was already here because we've mapped this out together. This level right here, what is it? Well, look at this. Rejection, rejection, support, 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 rejection. And where does this land in the fib zone? Look at that. Exactly, perfectly where the golden pocket is. So this is a double highlighted region of a known area to watch. If price breaks down, we're not losing our minds. We say, oh, we get some opportunity here in the basically 2150 zone for Ethereum. If this is able to hold here, and everything that's happening in Bitcoin and Ethereum and the market, this is all just one big psyop to convince you to go short, and then the market just launches and we don't have the pullback, then what do? Well, we look for the levels that we're already paying attention to. This massive trend line that goes back years, all the way back here to 2022. See this all the way up? And we're sitting there, we're just hanging out around it right now. If this is able to push up and break out of this, I expect a little bit of trouble at 28.42, which is his previous range top, which ultimately would be beautiful. If this were to push up here and have a bit of a move here and then get the breakout, that would be great, because then you have confidence that the bulls wanted it to go higher versus just a large liquidation that then has a large fall that follows it. If we look at, let's clear that up a little more. Let's look at Ondo. Ondo having golly, a gift from the gods for Ondo to fall this far. We're talking about Ondo. Look at this. Came all the way up here into the 215, 220 range, all the way back down. We marked out this zone. It bounced right into it. Boom, came out. This is looking beautiful. Still a bit of a rounding top. The only rounding bottom, The only problem I have with this is this roundingness. Now we have higher lows, higher low, higher low. Now this is a lower low. So this does give me a little bit of hesitation for Ondo in the very near term, unless this is a fake out and it comes right back up, boom, 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 and then launch. Because of this, we see this has basically from these higher lows having a lower low. If this if this doesn't break out of this soon, we may be revisiting back down into this region, down in the 68, 70 cent region. So just have that on your radar. But then we also had some other news beyond just Ethereum. But we see SUI is about to surpass XRP in total transaction count. Look at this. SUI, boom, massive run up. XRP, steady run up. So let's go ahead and take a look at SUI on the chart and see what SUI looks like. How many of you out there hold SUI? Shout out if you hold SUI. Let me pull up I just want to make sure I'm seeing everybody's names. I've missed some stuff because I just have a whole new setup. Where did you get that business cycle chart? That looks cool. Oh, that's TechDev_52. Great chart person. We already disproved this chart. Go back before March 24. It doesn't line up exactly. Well, I'm not sure. Are you talking about M2? All ships rise with tide. Let's go, baby. Powell's speech was a nothing burger. You nailed that, Bud Fox, for sure. Boom. Okay, let's continue on. SUI. How many of you guys hold SUI? That's what I asked. Let's get down to the bottom here. What's dog looking like? Hey, I met with the dog crew out there in Bitcoin conference. They had a booth. I got a plushie. I have to ship it back. I didn't want the box to get damaged, so my cousin is shipping it back. But dog's looking good, man. I added another million dogs, just so you know. Shout out. But let's look at SUI. We'll look at XRP, then we'll look at dog. So SUI, looking at this had two large run-ups. You see this? Actually three, but let's consider that after this pullback. One and then two came right back down where to these previous range tops and where this chop zone was. Pushed back up, but now we have a lower high. So we're kind of in a little bit of a struggle bus right now. What does it want to do? What does SUI want to do? Well, currently we can eliminate this. We can see that the price action did move to the upside and it's coming back down, trying to test down into this golden pocket zone right here. So let's look at this on 8-hour chart, zoom out. We have the Fibonacci. It came down. I mean, just blasted. Look, bounced around the 382 and now came right back down. Where? To this previous range high. We already had this line on the chart. Now, if this, which I kind of expect, if this does kind of, because you see how this is speeding up momentum to the downside? No, Kelly, how do you know it's speeding up momentum? Look at this angle. That is angled to the downside. So we see this move small, this move larger, this move larger. The momentum to the downside is kind of increasing right now. The one thing I will say though is we do have no bullish divergence. This is so falling wedge here on the RSI, but I would expect this to take a swing down into this region down here, basically 277 to 290, somewhere in this region. If this is lost, then I think we're coming back to have a really strong retest of this 234, 235 zone right in here. But when we look at this and we consider where this might be going in the cycle, what do? We don't have a lot of data. So let's go ahead and delete this Fibonacci. Come on. There we go. We can take a measured move just off of this, and this isn't going to give us the full picture. We took a measured move on the fib from this top to the bottom. We have fib extensions, which we can look at. And, you know, I would think it would be somewhere minimum the 1.618, which is 767. But I would think that based on the way these altcoins have run in previous cycles, once they break free into the expansion phase of the market cycle, if alts really do run, and SUI, even if there's somewhat of a focused approach to which assets run in alts this cycle, I think SUI is going to be part of those runners. Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, XRP, even though I hate XRP, STX, Avalanche. I said that. I think Algorand's still going to have some legs. Near Protocol, I think it's going to still get a big boom. BitTensor, Aerodrome, some of these. But SUI, you know, let's see, actually look right here on this move right here. Let's see where that did. Boom. This came up to the 2.618. See, and this is when the market sort of corrected after the alt boom that we had earlier this year, right? So what are we seeing on this right here? The 2.618 would be at 1137. I think this would be a super conservative target for SUI. Considering that we didn't really have that mass inflow of that retail hype and just money hype in the alt market. We haven't really gotten that alt expansion. Why is that? Because the Bitcoin dominance has not yet broken down. We've talked about this. This has not broken this key level, the 62 all the way down to about 61%. Alts, the Bitcoin dominance needs to have this roll over. We need Bitcoin dominance to roll over, which is trying to do right at the golden pocket of this move. If this does come down, bounce, and then continue to break down, this is when you're going to see overwhelming bullishness in the altcoin market. So when we come back over to SUI and we realize that where's it at? When we come back over to SUI and we realize that this has been in the face of the Bitcoin dominance not really falling yet, then I think this 2.618 will be a very reasonable target to get to. In fact, I think I could get somewhere up here into maybe the 4 to 5.618 region without a huge amount of trouble if the alts run. Solana also. Let's come out here. Let's go to the weekly and realize we've got a couple key levels. This level here, all the way back here in 2021, rejection, support, rejection. Look at that. This is right where we rejected again. A key trend line that went back to 2021. Trend lines don't matter. It's bro-astrology. Sure, maybe sometimes it is. But when you see something on a level that goes back to 2021 and has been a key level, from these 2 points, this is where that level was made, because you did not have another level to hit this against. So boom, that's where the trend line was made, right? But then look, rejection, bounce, rejection. If this breaks down, I'm watching these levels down here in the 124s. If this is able to hold here and push up, then I'm looking for a break of this 177, likely rejection at 215, chopping the zone before making that next leg to the upside. But what do we talk about? When we see price action moving up with higher low, now we have a lower low followed by a lower high. There's also a recipe here for lower prices. If this does actually result in a lower high and this does break down and come down into here, it's just going to be frustration zone 6,000. So we need to be a little bit careful here. We also see Morpho. I mean, golly. Option F. Let me click it 6 times. There we go. Okay, so this came right up into the 382. Now on this move right here, option F, option F. There we go. So where we're sitting right now, let's get down to the 6 hour. Boom, double click. Okay. So now we measured, this is the bottom, boom, right there. So this came down, look at this. Found some support on the 382, came down and broke through, rejected on it. If this does not have a big jolt soon, then this is looking like it wants to take the next leg down to the golden pocket. We have a bear flag right here. Look at that, bear flag right here. This is the flagpole, boom. This is the flag. The measured move on this, it's a little bit high. Kind of go like this. There we go. The measured move on this, measured out, takes us right into the golden pocket. So the bear flag suggests it. The price action is suggesting it. Unless we get I think a massive news story from Trump or China or Russia or Ukraine, those are not even proven to move the needle much anymore, right? But this is looking like it wants to take that swing to the lower. But remember, this shouldn't frustrate you. We just outlined how bullish the macro is. And within a macro, you're going to have some midterm and smaller time frame, little mini bearish trends that you can take advantage of if you should so choose. Injective, similar. Look, rounding bottom to the upside. Now, this still has higher lows all the way through. This is looking like it kind of wants to take that swing to a little bit lower down here to the basically 1040, 1050 sort of region. If this is able to hold up here and push up, then you see the levels directly above us that we're watching. Stacks. Haven't looked at stacks in a while. Let's delete this fib. Okay, push up. We had this downtrend angle breakout, but look, lower high. 2 different contexts here. This goes higher high, comes back down. This is lower high here, and now the breakdown. See how you can see these different levels, whether they're higher highs or lower highs, can start giving you some signal. Now this has come down. Now we have a lower low here. See this low? This is lower. This is coming right into the zone. I wouldn't be surprised if this took it a little bit further down to about 66, 67 cents, because this also looks like a gross. It's so grody. Bear flag here, just like a bull flag. Bull flags indicate a likely breakout further up. You measure the flagpole. Well, in this case, this is a flag pull down with a little bit of flag here. If this were to break to the downside, this would put us right back here. You see, you can measure that, option H. That target would be right in line with all these lows, this low, this rejection. So the target lines up also with previous price action if this were to break a little bit lower. But I want it to go up. If you want it to go up, don't you want it to go up with more of it in your bag? Now, you either traded out of this when this was looking weak here, or you're taking a longer term position and this is swinging lower and you're enduring it, or maybe you're up from before, maybe you bought higher, but this gives you another opportunity at lower prices. You have to decide what you want to do. I talk about what I'm doing all day long every day. Ugin Sky says, Tau looks great. Let's look at Tau. Where is Tau? Tau. Okay, it looks great, but this also looks like a rounding top. So let's go ahead, boom, delete that. Tau, we got it right here on this bounce here on the 382. Moved up, I got a little bit more over here, moved up. When it came down, I think I had a little bit more here. And now this is looking a little questionable. Looks great, sure, but in the near term, that's what most people are concerned with. In the near term, this is feeling like a little bit like it wants to take a little bit of a swing to the downside, which if you like Tau, then you should be welcoming a $307 Tau. If this were to swing to the downside and come down in this pocket, this would be a dream. If I can add more to my position at $288 to $310 in this zone, I would welcome it because this is kind of looking like an M formation, right? Kind of looking kind of ugly. Push up, break down, push up, break down, and look, lower low. If this can't, and this is not saying the market has to go down, the near-term price action charts, meaning like over this week, are suggesting things kind of want to take a swing lower. But I wouldn't fully commit your entire portfolio to a trade in one way or another. Unless you're already in, that's not a trade. If you're holding a position, that's not necessarily a trade. If you're looking, okay, I'm going to trade out of my whole portfolio, and when this drops to here, I'm going to add it back in. I'm going to have so much more. The second you do that, that's when the universal market gods say, no, we're going to leave you behind. And then you buy in higher and you have less capital, you have less assets in there. So you want to take strategic, structured moves right now because this is looking a bit choppy here. I wouldn't be surprised at minimum this came down to about 340, about 343, right in there. So let's be a little caution there. And the last one of the day, let's go look at it. Everybody, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button when you're tuned in here. Make sure it says subscribed. I guess, I don't know why, I guess they changed the way this all looks. Oh, let me go like this. Boom. Make sure they did change it. Make sure it says subscribed. Hit the subscribe button. If you're not, turn on the notifications. And if you want to become a member on the channel, I'm gonna be posting some of the stuff we have in the Discord for just the members. I'm gonna be posting some select stuff, some select videos and stuff here. Now that we got all that situated, you'll get access to that as a member. But turn on notifications because even if you're not a member, you'll get access to some of those things that I do post to the public on an unlisted thing, but I post them to the public for about 5 minutes sometimes, and it's a benefit for those of you that have your notifications on. If you want to join up with any of our links, our Discover Investments group, which is basically Discover Crypto, DZ, Josh, myself, Blockchain Basement crew, TJ, we are all in this new super Discord there. Again, if you are a BitLab member and you want to join this, you don't have to do anything. Send an email to office@hitnetwork.com. Let them know your Discord username, not just the visible name. There'll be a username, your user ID, and then also sign up for LBank if you want to do that. You know, there's one caveat there. If you do have a paid membership at BitLab, all you got to do is make sure you sign up for LBank here. It doesn't cost you any money, but that helps you get access to that full area there. And just make sure you have your VPN on. You don't need to do KYC. You don't need to do any of that. That way you can trade $100, $200, $300 with us in there when we're doing all those trading, different trading streams with Josh and with DZ and Drew. And of course, shout out to our channel partners, Arculus. Make sure you protect your crypto. Make sure you protect your future. GetArculus.com. Use code BITLAB20, BITLAB20, BitLab20 for 20% off. That's at GetArculus.com. One tap total security. Then of course, LBank, that link that I just shared with you. Now let's look at the last chart of the day. It's for the dog fam. Where are my dogs at? Let's look at what's going on here because I added about $1 million dog to my portfolio the other day while I was bouncing around in Vegas. I saw the booth, I saw the community, I was feeling vibey, so I added some in to the position here. We are up 463% on this peak that we just had from the bottom. 4.6x essentially for those that stacked in down here when I was talking about this reversal. Now we got the beautiful stair step to the upside, to the levels that I had mapped out a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. These levels that I had lined up here, price action is just going to them and almost hit this one. We're in a little bit of a pullback right now on dog, but I'm not worried about it. If this, in fact, I want it to pull back so I can add some more at some beautiful doggy prices. And if this were to swing down a little bit lower, back down here to 3.616, it wouldn't end the world. In fact, if this even went a little bit lower, if the market took a bigger swing to the downside, I'm so bullish on dog because it's on Bitcoin. There's no paid community. There's no paid KOLs. I've never been paid to talk about this. It's just a community organized coin on Bitcoin. It's inscribed Bitcoin. It's inscribed Satoshis. There's no huge pockets of marketing pool or private vesting from this big ass player that's going to drop on you. It's an anti-rug coin because it's a coin on Bitcoin, and it's now getting listed on Kraken. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more listings coming your way. So as this is looking right now, RSI has moved to the downsides, getting a little bit of a breakup to the upside. I would be watching for whether we bounce somewhere in this region. I'm watching these targets to the upside. We've got another about 100%. That's it, 100% to the upside, and we're at all-time highs for dog. And I think that remember, this is just dominating mindshare for all the meme projects. It's also dominating social engagement for the broader. It's up there in the top 10 regularly for the entire crypto community. So the mindshare is there, the engagement's there, the diversification across 100,000 plus wallets is there, and the fact that it's not ruggable because there's no big allocations to, all these damn devs that are out there. Well, I want to do this for the community. And they just rape your face because they're just, they just pull the money out. This is a community coin. That's why I get behind it. So shout out to the dog fam. Big love to each and every one of you. That's all I got for today's show. Make sure you share this. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm so happy to be back. 104,434. Even if we get the swing lower, I'm going to be buying. We have so much ahead of us in this crypto ecosystem this year and beyond. So make sure you stack like your future depends on it, because it does. My name's Kellam. Again, welcome to the BitLab. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hope you have a wonderful day. Adios, muchachos. Did I miss any super chats? I don't know. Shout out to Brian Hardy, new member. Brian, gifted 10 memberships. Crypto City, $1.99 super chat. Should I convert Caspa to elsewhere XRP, AVE, or USDC? Caspa is another one. I think Caspa is going to have a pretty good run on it. It's in a very competing market with a lot of stuff, though. If you have a lot of Caspa, then it's always good to have a little bit of diversification. But yeah, shout out. With a question like that, I would convert your Caspa to USDC, says Castle. Big love to you. I appreciate all you. That's all I got. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Gonna eat some lunch. Bye.